Well, hello, and welcome to ZBrush Live. And uh, I just want to make sure you can hear me okay. So if you can, please let me know in the chat. So either on Twitch or YouTube, one of the two. And if those work, I think the rest of the stuff works as well. So if you could please give me a shout out and let me know that everything is okay with the audio and that you can see my screen, that would be great. In the meantime, I will mention that this is a stream for ZBrush, and if you like what you see, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. If you have any questions, you can ask during the stream in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. And if you're watching this after the fact, you can leave your questions in the comments, and hopefully somebody will get to you about it. Okay, so Alex, thank you very much for letting me know that everything sounds and looks good. That's YouTube down. If I can get somebody from Twitch also to chime in, that would be awesome. And with that, we can go ahead and get going on this guy that we are still continuing to work on. And today we'll kind of maybe work on some of these pouches that he's got over here, and maybe some work on his hands as well. We did some kind of coloring last time, and maybe work on his boots too, and maybe do some tertiary detail if we can. There are some things I still want to do on his helmet, so I'll be doing those today as well. All right, so okay, good. So YouTube is good, and what about on Twitch? Anybody on Twitch? Is the Twitch people? Are you seeing me okay? Hearing me okay, and all that good stuff? And if you are, please mention that you are, and we can get going. So I have not decided on these guys if I want to make them into a let's see here, let me solo them out. I don't know if I haven't decided if I want them to be kind of softer pouches or kind of hard surfacey like the way they are. I kind of like this kind of hard surface look, and I have to see if I can figure out a way to make that work. Looks like I've kind of stacked 3 of them over here on top of each other, and it's kind of a neat look, so I think I'm going to stay with it. And yeah, I kind of like them in the back too. So, all right, and I think they're separate right now. Maybe I'll group these together so that I can work on them, or maybe just leave them separate for now. All right, so these ones look like there's a little bit of intersection action happening, so let's go ahead and fix those. I still am waiting for somebody from Twitch to let me know that you can hear me and see me okay. I would greatly appreciate it if you could chime in. It would help us all. All right, so I think it looks like the front is masked, but the back is not. So let's unmask that, and let's kind of rotate these downwards like this. And I wonder if it'll be great, if it'd be good to add a break. So let me just go bring out the mask pen here. And it'd be interesting to see if a break here would make sense. Still, I'm not hearing from Twitch. I'm hoping that people can see me and hear me okay there. I'm not sure to connect to it, so I should be on there. And there's a bunch of you watching. So, yeah. It's a rainy day here in LA, and so if you hear some pitter-patter, that's the rain outside. We have them every once in a while, and it's kind of a big deal when we do. All right, I'm kind of trying to figure out something to do with these pouches in the back. Somehow make them work. I'm going to solo them so I can see them individually. Looks like I'm kind of, by smoothing these, I'm destroying the kind of middle area, but that's okay, because I think I know what I want to do here once this is kind of settled in. I think I want to separate these out from the front ones too, because they're their own thing. So first I'm going to unmask everything, and then I'm just going to select these and split hidden. Still nothing from Twitch. I wonder if there's nobody watching on Twitch, which is tragic, but found that hard to believe. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to kind of push this middle part out, but I want to add some loops beforehand. So I'm just going to go in here and do some group loops. So group loops, maybe one loop at each poly group here, and let's do a bit of polishing, why not? And that's good. I think that kind of did what I wanted it to do, but added some creasing. So do I have the crease menu here? Crease, yep, uncrease all. Don't want any creasing. And then go back to the Z modeler brush and go to QMesh, poly loop. Okay, and I'm using the Sense Labs tablet today, or the pen tablet, and it's working pretty good. And one of the things I want to do here is I want to make sure that right, so basically here, let me turn polyframe off. So, and also, I don't know why these have a darker color on them. Let's just fill them with, well, let's just leave it as is for now. And here I'm just kind of creating this kind of packet kind of look. That's a bit too much. Just need to kind of soften it up a bit. And I guess I could just do this automatically. And of course, I don't have symmetry on. Why would I? And I can just mirror and weld this. Hopefully it's right side to the right side. Nope, of course not. And no worries, we can mirror, then mirror and weld. And okay, so now we are good. We have this on both sides, and then we also want to make sure that we have activated symmetry on this. And here, I was kind of hitting this with the smooth brush to kind of not get these kind of hard edges here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it a little bit differently. And the way that I'm going to do that is by doing a deformation here, which is polish by groups, and just let's do a little bit here like that and see what we get. It didn't really do much. How about polish crisp edges? Let's see if that helps. It's helping a little bit, not much. It's kind of overpower it. I don't think I have, yeah, that's wild. Let's try relaxing it. Oh, that's too much. Maybe relax it a little bit of relaxation, not too much. Oh, even one just completely kills it. Okay, so what about, let's just try normal polish. Yeah, that again is good. Let me just do one here. Yeah, it's either like it's really severe, so I don't know if there's a way to do this. I'm going to try polish by groups again. Let's try one. Let's try a lot. So not really doing much here, but I'm going to go ahead and open this up, see if that helps a little bit, but really not getting what I want. Okay, so one other way I can do this is maybe add a subdivision level and then try and relax it by one. And I think, you know, giving it a little bit more geometry, yep, that got it to where I wanted it to be. So basically these are kind of pouches, and there'll be something to press, and then this opens up and there's like, I don't know, something in there. Right, and that looks good. Let's go down in subdivision level here. And I'm just going to create a big move brush and maybe shape these a little bit more so they're kind of connecting to the belt like that. And these aren't like hard surface things. They're kind of soft, but they so when he leans on something or whatever, sits down, they're not going to obstruct him. And then let's do something with these guys over here as well, right? So these also are, I'm going to split the hidden parts, and let's see, these are the back ones. Yes, they are. All right, let's see what we can do with these ones. Again, So I just can zero mesh them, but keep the groups. So keep groups and zero mesh them. And let's go for half. We don't really need this much geometry to start out with. That's good. And then I want to kind of create a bit of a bevel on the corners here. And again, this is all right. So somebody says, seeing me for the first time, hello, how's it going? I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it's all good. And thank you for tuning in. And if you want to see how we started this whole thing, it's all on YouTube. You can go back and watch all the episodes to this point. All right, so here what I'm going to do is see how it's sharp over here. So I'm going to go in here and under let's see if I can just do this. I guess I can do it with ZMesher. ZModeler. I'm just going to go in here and do a bevel, and I'll do polygroup, polyloop here, and just do that. Whoa. Okay. I don't know why it's doing it that way. All right, let's do bevel and edge loop complete. I don't know why I said polyloop. It should be edge loop. User error, usually 9 times out of 10, that's what it is. All right, let's do the same thing here. All right, that's good. And then, so that kind of adds a little bit of a softer edge to it. And then let's see what that looks like over here. That's good. And kind of have to make it work so it kind of works with this other piece over here. And there's this big gap over here that I need to fix. So let's go ahead and use the move brush here and just move. I'm going to mask this part. Again, ZModeler, mask. Polygroup, mask, where are you? Mask, mask, mask. Okay, polygroup island, that's good. And then let's just mask this guy. And then I want to grow the mask. And they did add this capability. I think they added it in the latest version where you can just grow the mask out like that. Maybe not so much. And I think they added some, where's the one where, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so the mask is kind of grown out, and let's sew this back. Okay, so the back is kind of masked, so the back is not going to do anything, but we will be able to move this part forward like this. Right, let's move this over as well. Let's unmask now and just find a nice kind of way for this to work. And at this point, I mean, it kind of started out kind of being very hard surfacey, but right now it's not as hard surfacey, and that's okay because it's just going to be like some sort of a thing that this attaches to. And I might chop it a bit more. We might need to redo this thing, but again, we don't really see much of it, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm just kind of trying to determine a good kind of way to have this work. So I kind of like this thing that it goes over, but I don't know if I like this part right here, so I'm going to try and chop it. Okay, so for this, you know, if I chop it this way, you know, it's going to do that, which is not what I want. So there's a couple of ways of fixing this. The first way is just going ahead and turning off symmetry, masking this part, and then just doing one side and then mirroring it over. So that's one way of doing it. And another way is, of course, deleting the one side and doing it that way. So here I'm just kind of trying to figure out, okay, so maybe something like that. And this is going to really kind of destroy my polygroups, but at this point I don't really care. And while we're at it, let's do this as well. To maybe give this a bit of a corner over here like that. All right. Petru is the name. Oh, Petru, how's it going? Thanks for pronouncing that. And Nicholas, hello to you as well. Thank you for joining us live. I know a lot of people watch this online afterwards, or sometimes, much afterwards. But and I always appreciate people watching it live. It makes the conversation a little bit more lively, and also it's an opportunity for you guys to ask questions, which usually is fun to answer sometimes. And yeah. All right, so let's get this. Why are you not doing what I want? Oh, it is. All right, just move this back a bit. And again, I'm just trying to fix that one first, the one side. And then once I get it, I'll fix the other side too. So I'm just trying to get this to do what I want it to do, which, right? So I just kind of want to go along this plane with the gizmo. And what I want to do here is rotate it this way, move it in. I don't want it to really clash with that gap that I created, but I want it to touch kind of the packet in a way where it is, kind of its thing that it connects to, like that. It's looking okay. What about on this side? That's looking good from the top. And then another thing I might want to do, to get it added a little bit more visual interest, is give it like maybe one of these things. And let's see what this looks like without. Right, that shop was good, but not very good. Let's solo it out like this, and let's try it this way. Still not what I wanted to do, but I think I can go at it with maybe H-polish. Nope, totally destroyed it. Don't want to do that. What if I kind of... The problem is I want to cut it, but this arm is in the way. So what I can do here is I can just go to Subtool and create another view. Let's go to view 4 here, where I guess we do have view 4 already. Let's go to view 5, where we basically just see this. And where's the other one? This. Okay, so this will kind of work better. And so I can now see exactly what's happening with just those two pieces without everything else kind of getting in the way. And then let's move this over a bit more. This really helps. So this kind of piece is attached to this one here, this way, and maybe this way. And notice here, this is completely different from the one on this side, but that's okay, because in a little while here, what I'm going to do is just mirror whatever I'm doing here to the other side and get exactly the same thing. All right, that's a bit too much. Let me just pull this out a bit more and do this to it. All right. Oh, we got somebody from Chile. Hello, 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 Gabriel. It's amazing how many different countries people tune in from. It's always cool. I used to ask in the beginning of, like, call out your country kind of thing. Maybe I'll do it again. I don't know. Today it doesn't seem like there's that many people watching just yet. And I don't know why, but it's cool. I know how schedules can get. I figured there'd be more people watching because a lot of people are out of work. Especially in the games industry, there's been a lot of layoffs here in the United States. Also in the UK, I think this week PlayStation people got laid off. Like a lot of them, like the whole studio closed down, which is really sad. And then EA, I think, announced some layoffs as well. They got rid of all the people that were working on that Mandalorian game, which I was kind of looking forward to. Oh well. I don't know. I can. It's almost like a curse to be on a Star Wars game. There's only so many that have made it out, and there's some really good Star Wars games. Like I remember I used to play X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. That was fun, and you know, battlegrounds or whatever, the one where it's a, you know, that's a third person kind of, that's a really fun game to play. But for some reason there's a curse for a lot of them to get canceled. I mean, the whole franchise is kind of, you know, in flux. But I am enjoying watching The Bad Batch. If you are seeing that, it's pretty fun. They're doing a good job with that show. Actually, the animated Star Wars stuff is really good. Clone Wars is good. Rebels is good. I don't know how I went to that other piece. I guess I'm not showing this one. That's why I got confused. But at this point, I think I can go back to everything. Look at this little bit of kind of thing that I didn't account for, but that's okay. Easily fixed. Wrong subtool. Yeah. So anyway. I don't know why all this is happening now. Like, it's a really weird time of the year for these things to be happening. Like, usually they happen almost at the end of the year, or they happen, you know, in the summer or something like that. But this is a weird time for all this to be happening. Then weird times are what we are dealing with on a lot of things, on a lot of levels. All right, so let's see. Oh, I've got another person from Argentina. All right, so today's South America Day. Awesome. I don't know what's happening with the game studios. I honestly don't. I think, you know, a lot of them are doing well. So I don't think it's a financial issue. I think maybe, you know, some things I've heard is that they overhired during the pandemic. But that seems a little bit unlikely. I mean, I know companies do layoffs every once in a while. It's just, you know, how they work. But the timing of this is kind of really strange. Well, symmetry. But hopefully they'll slow down soon and things can get back to normal. Let's go to this piece right here. And I think this, oh, all right. So same thing with this one where it's got front and back parts. So I'm just going to select these ones, split hidden, and let's go just to these ones over here. Rotate them in, move them in this way. Yeah. It's kind of wild because the top part of where you see me, like right over here, there's a little bit of the pen display showing, so that's why my beard is cut off. But I can probably move the camera a bit. Let's see if I can do that. Nope, it's at the maximum it can go to. Maybe I can move the camera. All right, excuse me for 1 second here. Yeah, there we go. I don't think that worked any better. How about this? Okay, here we go. That did it. All right. Okay, so here I'm just kind of trying to figure out how to move this pouch into where it needs to go. This guy has kind of a weird, you know, a rear area, so trying to make this work with it somehow. I mean, I guess I could tuck it in, but it's fine. Yeah, I could just kind of make this maybe fan out a bit, just to kind of accommodate for it. Kind of, it's nice because it kind of aligns with this angle as well. All right, and then with these guys, there's this kind of indentation over here, which is kind of, I don't know if I want that. Let's see, is it polygroup? No, let's just zero mesh this at half. Okay. I think the flip side of this kind of layoff business is bad for software companies too, because you know, before people used to just buy software for all the people that work there, and then if they left the company, you know, they'd still would have bought the software. But nowadays with subscription, what happens is that, you know, if a company gets rid of a bunch of people, like I know the last company I worked for, once they got rid of the folks in a layoff, they had to, you know, they basically canceled their subscriptions to the software. So, you know, so every time there are these layoffs, I think it's kind of bad for software companies too, which is kind of bad. But I think, you know, a lot of these people will get rehired. I mean, you know, unless they weren't really effective in what they did, at some point they'll all get rehired somewhere or another. A lot of people are blaming AI for what's going on, but I don't know if I buy that. I mean, oh, that's interesting. So if I'm looking at this guy, this part is protruding, but here it's not, and I don't know why that is. And that's probably because these two are not symmetric. So let's go to these and mirror and weld them. There we go, that does it. All right, so I got to make sense with why these are kind of these shapes, these guys that I was working on. But I think I might be able to do that with tertiary detail, so I'm just going to kind of postpone figuring them out for just now. Right, but they work kind of together somehow like this. And move them up a bit. Here we go. All right, so let's get to these ones in the front. Let's go with these ones first. And again, if I want to rotate these or whatever, I want them to be on the plane that I just clicked on. And the way to do that with the gizmo is wherever the gizmo is, move it off of it, right? And then just click on any point, and that will put it perpendicular to that point. But if you want it to kind of align to the plane, you know, just kind of click on the surface and move your mouse on that surface, and that will align it to that plane. And so now if I want to rotate it along that plane, I can. And I'm holding Alt down, the Alt key down, to manipulate the gizmo and not the actual subject. So this gizmo is super, super useful, and it really, I see, you know, a lot of kind of people that have been using ZBrush for a while use the transpose line, and they're comfortable with that. And I personally prefer the gizmo, although I do use the transpose line for things every now and again if I need to. All right. All right. Are studios using AI already? You know what? They are and they aren't. So I'll talk about that afterwards in a minute. Vestis, hello back, and I am doing great. Hopefully you are too. And also Dinja, I guess. Ninja. Okay, you're asking what I'm sculpting. I'm sculpting a character that I basically got inspired by some images. And it's basically this kind of, I don't know, I mean, we came up with a lot of stories for him, but I think he's some sort of a, you know, you know, a person, kind of a cybernetic being that actually has the soul or the kind of the programming of a person in it, and so that person's skull is kind of an ornament inside the head of it, but it's got everything else is basically electronics. So and also it's got like that person's kind of mind or whatever in there. And I don't know, you know, I'm contemplating whether this is a good guy or a good guy or a bad guy. I mean, whenever you have a skull, it's always assumed that it's a bad guy. But I don't know. I haven't decided yet if it is a good guy or a bad guy. I'm just kind of trying to get him to be what he is, and then we'll figure out a story for him after the fact. All right, I'm going to do a quick save here because I did a bunch of work. Let that happen, and then grab some tea here. But hopefully that answers the question. And also, you know, the skull is on the inside, but he's got a visor too that he can have on, so that if people are scared of him, he just puts on the visor, and he kind of looks more like a kind of a cybernetic character. But when he has got the visor off, for people that know him or whatever, then they kind of maybe know who he is. I don't know. We also, you know, some people also said he looks like a space pirate. I think that's a good idea. I'm not too opposed to that as being an option. All right, so let's solo this guy out and do the same thing we did before. But this time I'm going to do it a little bit differently because I kind of want these hard corners on these ones. So here I'm just going to go in and go to ZModeler and add some edge loops here. So I'm just going to go ahead and edge loop. Insert edge loop, and then we're going to add multiple edge loops, and we want to do it interactively. So here, you know, let's just add maybe there. I think that's good. And again, with the creasing, we don't want those, so I'm just going to scroll down here and say uncrease all. Okay, and let's see what this looks like with dynamic subdivision. Right, that added a nice bevel to it, and what we want to do here is we just want to go back to this, and what we want to do is we want to go ahead and Q-mesh this poly loop. Now, when you Q-mesh this line here that you see going this way, we'll Q-mesh it this way, which is not what I want. I want it to go this way. Oops. So this is what I want. I can also hit shift to get this kind of thing going on. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add 2 edge loops, maybe another 2 over here. And as you Q-mesh something, if you just Q-mesh it, it does this. But if you hold shift down, then it doesn't actually add that edge loop, but it kind of pulls it in, which is kind of more what I'm going for here. And let's see what that looks like. That's kind of good. And then what I also want to do is I want to go ahead and add another 2 edge loops here, like that. And I want this part to come out. Maybe like that. Let's see what that looks like. It's okay. I think that's kind of the look I was going for. Bring everything back. Okay, so that kind of added an interesting inside part. And for this outside part, I think I'm going to do something else here. Let's see, solo. And what I want to do here is just kind of create some sort of a flap. And to do that, I'm just going to do something here where I just go ahead and say mask poly loop and just mask this part because I don't really want to manipulate this part at all. And I can continue to do that for the rest of this, but I'm just going to use mask the lasso part of the mask. So I'm just going to do this. Oops, not like that, but go to mask lasso. So I know for a fact that this is masked, but I'm just going to do this for the rest. Okay, so I know the back is protected. And then this is going to be tricky. I want to do the same thing here, but I want that line. Oops. No, I don't want to do that, but I want that line to kind of be continuous. So let's see if I got that. See, that's exactly what I was afraid it would happen, but that's okay. I can just turn things to this angle and do the masking at this angle as well. Hopefully that'll get what I want it to get. Like that. Oops. Actually, I want to do the opposite, so that gives me a second chance here. I want to get this as planar to the screen as possible, and then just do this. There. All right. So now I have the option again to use the gizmo, and move this off. Put the gizmo right here, and I want to pull this out this way. Let's see if I do this, if it makes it any better. That's kind of not bad. Let's do a little bit more of it. Something like that. All right, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks good. So this is kind of the part that maybe opens up or something like that. And I think I hit this with a little bit of smoothing. I'm just going to leave it be for now, the way it was. And I'm going to do something else. Let's see if that works. What I want to do here is I want to add an edge loop going this way. So again, insert edge loop using the Z modeler, something like this. Right, and then I want to just push this part in. So what I'm going to do here is see if I can get away with doing this a different way. So I'm just going to rotate it this way here, and I'm going to use the slice curve. So slice curve, where are you? Slice curve, and just do a slice this way, because I want, this is the angle I want that thing to be in. All right, that worked. Okay, and I want to do one more. All right, I just saw some questions come in. Give me a second, and I'll get to it. All right. Oh, nope. I think that's good enough. And like here, what I want to do is I want to do a polygroup, and I want to do polygroup flat and flat and polygroup. So I just want to grab this guy and make it its own polygroup. And let's pick a different color here. Here we go. And it's happening on the other side. Kind of is, kind of isn't. That's okay. I can just always mirror, and weld. Okay, so now I've got the same. And then I'm going to QMesh this in. So QMesh polygroup island. And let's see what that'll give us. It's exactly what I want right there. Okay. And if I do dynamic on this, this is what I get, and this is what I wanted. Okay, so it's kind of got these like little flaps that go in, and that's good. And adding some tertiary detail to this will make it look great. Okay. Is the age factor to be hired, or only thing that matters is the portfolio? I'm planning to change a career. Oh, we got somebody from Uruguay. Okay, so it's South America Day today. That's great. South and Central America Day. All right. So I think you know, so it depends on the company. Like a lot of corporations do have, you know, age type of restrictions. I know for a fact that here in Southern California, if you are going to lay somebody off that's over the age of 40, there's certain laws that you have to follow. I think because a lot of companies don't want to pay insurance for older people, so there is a little bit of that. However, if you're really good, I don't think age matters. For example, the last company I worked for was mostly young folks and me, which was pretty wild. Because when I first started my job at Microsoft, it was the other way around. Everybody was older and I was really young. Yeah, so I think if your portfolio is good, they'll hire you. But companies do prefer younger people because, you know, they don't have families, they don't have as many bills, they can pay them less, etc., etc. So I don't know. It depends, I guess. I'm hoping that's not the case, but my experience has kind of shown it otherwise. I think if you can do the job, you should be hired. I don't think ageism, I think that's kind of the last thing that needs to be addressed. You know, everything is kind of addressed in one way or another, which is great, but I think ageism is still kind of an issue. I mean, especially in this type of work, you know, you don't really, you know, age doesn't really matter as much. You can still do the work depending on how old you are. And if you can do the work, then that's great. I think the problem is a lot of older people, especially people my age, like don't do this, right? So that's another thing. I'm very, you know, probably there's a few people that I know that are kind of older that do this, but most everybody's much, much younger. I think I'm fortunate because I've been doing it for a long, long time, and something that I really enjoy doing. So, you know, I mean, I'm always going to find a way to do this and make a living doing it. That's kind of the goal. All right, so somebody asked, do I see a lot of AI in corporations and whatnot? It depends. I've been talking to a lot of people, and everybody's like very excited about it and gung-ho about it, but nobody's really changing what they do. So I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, and he was telling me that he's talked to a lot of studios, and everybody's saying that, oh yeah, well, we have it in there. We have AI in there, but it's not affecting our pipeline in any way, shape, or form yet. There are specific things that it's doing, but I think people are more freaked out about it than it's actually, you know, that it's actually there and taking jobs and whatnot. That said, I don't know if you folks got a chance to see. I'm just going to remesh this, get a little bit kind of cleaner geometry. But I don't know if you guys got a chance to see Sora or Sorta or whatever the thing is called, the OpenAI thing that's doing videos now. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. So just like everything AI, you see it and you go like, whoa, you know, it's doing video and everything is great. And then the more you kind of look at it, the more you see a lot of problems. So, I think people are like, oh yeah, well, this is just going to replace all the cinematographers. It's going to replace everything and whatever. And people are just going to, you know, with prompts, make movies and whatnot. And I think there's a long ways to go before that happens, if it happens even. So I'm not really thinking that that's going to be the case. However, for things that are not in focus and for things that are in the background or for certain advertisements or things like that, maybe it makes sense to do them with some sort of AI generative video thing. So I don't know. Part of me is really excited about the technology, and part of me is just really, you know, kind of disgusted with the aspects of it really, you know, not asking permission to use information for data sets. And also, I'm also disgusted with the fact that, you know, they're kind of positioning it as something that will eliminate jobs. So I think, you know, I mean, I think everything will eliminate jobs at some point with automation, but you know, I think that providing some sort of a pathway for people that are doing those jobs is kind of a good thing too. So, but I don't think a lot of these companies care. I think they just want to come up with new technology and basically, you know, make their investments pay off. their venture investments. So who knows? We live in interesting times. What I'm seeing a lot of, which is odd but also interesting, is that a lot of friends of mine who do digital art are starting to do traditional painting, like with canvases and oil paints and gouache and things like that. So for some reason, AI has just had the effect of these people wanting to kind of retrograde into doing things like that, versus embracing, the AI technology and seeing how it could apply in what they're doing. So I don't know, a lot of interesting things happening, a lot of different perspectives. I don't know if anybody here is friends with me on Facebook, but one of the things I do every once in a while is ask some really good some questions that basically I have about AI and see what people say, and I've gotten some really interesting answers. There's a bunch of people that basically are just against AI, period. Like they're just like, no, it should go away, which I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, it could. NFTs kind of went away, so I don't know if AI could have a bubble that bursts and then it goes away too. So that's a good question to ask. But yeah, I think the technology is too cool. I mean, for me, for example, in my workflow, I have a lot of reference images that I'm collecting that are AI reference images. These are not things I will use and for, to do paint overs or finish work or whatever. But getting reference stuff from AI is kind of nice because it does kind of do some really interesting things. Nicholas, good question. Do I have an Instagram? And the answer is I do. And here it is. So let me make this for full screen. I do have an Instagram, and that is the best thing to ask about is my Instagram, because if you go to my Instagram, you can see some of my work, and a lot of it is ZBrush work. So this is ZBrush, all this is ZBrush. This is World Creator, I think, or Gaia, one of the two. I think it's World Creator. And then ZBrush. And then for a while there, I was starting to play around with AI. So this is AI, this is AI, this is ZBrush. And then there are a whole bunch of AI images. When AI first started, I was kind of really interested in it. So I did a lot of AI stuff, but then it's ZBrush again. So, and I'm not doing any more AI postings just because there's enough of them out there. And I really don't feel like any of it is kind of my work. Like, I don't think this is my work. I just typed in something and it created this image. But it was interesting and I just kind of thought I'd share it. But I'm not going to be sharing any more AI images from this point forward. It's just going to be stuff I work on. So yeah, I do have an Instagram. It's Kermaco. So Instagram.com/Kermaco. And let me move this down so you can see it right here. This is the address. And also, if you go there, I have my link tree is here too. So if you click on that, it basically shows you where you can see my portfolio. I have some Gnomon workshops, a couple of them. You can click on that to go there. I have a Gumroad, and on my Gumroad, I have a primitives pack. I've got one that's free, so you can get these ones, which are 17 primitives. When I made this image, it was 15, but I added a couple more. And then there's the pro version, which just adds a few more shapes here that are pretty useful. And that's 36 primitives. And that's for a nominal fee. And also, if you like my UI colors, I have those available for free as well. So you can get those from my Gumroad. And again, to get to my Gumroad, just go to my Instagram, click on my link tree, and then in my link tree, there's that. I have an art station. I've got a YouTube channel, which I really haven't done anything in, but I will be soon. I have a Twitter and I have a LinkedIn. So all that is over here. Hopefully that answers your question. Here's my portfolio of stuff that I've done. A lot of it is ZBrush. Most of it actually is ZBrush. And also I have a, let's see, I showed the Gumroad. And the two titles I have on Gnomon Workshop, one is on photogrammetry, and the other one is a mech. And if you like what I'm doing and you want to kind of get a more structured class in it, this one is pretty good, where I actually make this mech. And I use all sorts of programs for this. I start designing it in VR, using Medium, which is now Adobe Modeler. And then I also go into ZBrush a lot. And then I go into Substance Painter to paint it. So you can see me doing that here. And so yeah, I mean, that's kind of a really good tutorial to look at if you are interested in kind of my workflow. And this is, you know, this is a bit older. I mean, it's kind of recent, but I probably will do another thing like this because I've developed a lot of techniques since then. But this is a good kind of foundation to start with. And then this tutorial here is one that basically talks about 3D scanning and how to clean that up and utilize it in for games and things like that. And I'm doing a newer version of this. I'm working on a new version right now, and hopefully that should be done in the next few months. I kind of wanted to get done sooner, but things keep coming up work-wise, and now that things are slower, I think I can focus on it again. So hopefully that answers your question, Nicholas. And yeah, so check it out. And you can reach me on Instagram, or you can also reach me on my email address, which is on my portfolio site. All right, so let's move these in a bit more here. It's funny how they keep crashing with this but it's fine. Okay. All right, so this is all looking okay pouch-wise. I think this is good. I think tertiary details will add more to these. Let's move on to the hands here and do some sculpting of hands. And for hands, I kind of have a reference image that I got, so I'm going to be working on that, trying to emulate those hands. Let me get my reference here and see. Yeah, here we go. All right, so let me go to the hands here and solo them out. And again, I have symmetry going here, and these are hands that I basically got chopped off from the model that I had. One good thing you always want to do with hands is you want to have different polygroups for the fingers, so that if you want to work on an individual finger, you can just use you know, Control and Shift and click on it like this. Oops. And then you can you know, work on that finger individually and then bring that rest of the hand back by doing this. Okay, right. All right, so I just want to get the Damien standard brush here. I think that's 3. First of all, I just want to make sure the overall shape is good, and I think this finger is a little bit wobbly, so I'm going to fix it. Just by choosing it first, and then going to the move brush. And again, just the thing I was talking to you about earlier, I'm doing it now, where I'm just basically working on just this one finger here and making sure I got it to where I want it to be. All right, and one thing that I kind of got contacted about a while back is that people think that this clicking sound that you hear is my mouse, and it's not. I'm using the tablet. But my keyboard is a clicky keyboard. I've got the Logitech 502, something like that. I don't know the exact name of it. Actually, I can look it up here in the little app that comes with it. Yeah, 513. So it's a 502 is my mouse, but G513 is my keyboard, and I chose the blue clicky on it just because it reminds me of kind of older IBM keyboards I used to work with. So I kind of like the sound of it. I actually have one of those old IBM keyboards still from my career, and it still works and it's in good shape. But it's big and it's heavy. It's like full metal, you know, like old school, you know. Yeah. Hands are actually, you know, the thing about hands is, you know, there's a lot of things, details to work on. but there are tricks that you can do to make your life easier. And hopefully what I'm going to be doing next, and I'll probably just be working on the hands. Let's see, how are we doing on time? We're about halfway there. Well, I'm probably going to be working on the hands for a good part of the next few minutes here. Let me do something real quick. I need to fix something on my setup here. So I have this thing sliding around. I need to kind of have it be more grounded. Okay, here we go. All right, much better. Oops. Come on now. All right. I have my SenseLabs pen display on a arm, and I swap it out for other pen displays, and every once in a while. And one of the things is just to make sure that it stays put, and I have a good way of doing that, but sometimes it just kind of, I don't know what happens, it starts to move. So now I've got it perfectly situated. All right, so the thing you want to do with fingers or hands is make sure that each finger works, and once you have that going and the proportions and everything look right, then it will work better. So I made this a little bit thicker here because I'm going to carve into it. So here I'm going to go to Damien Standard Brush, and I'm also going to turn Polyframe off because I want to kind of get the look that I'm going for, which is basically these kind of things going this way, and then hollowing out this part a little bit to some sort of a joint over here. And again, I'm trying to work on a very low, as low poly as I can. This thing has 3 subdivision levels, so I can go to maybe subdivision level 2. Well, I think 3 is good, and just create kind of the look I'm going for. And then I'll probably have claws for this guy. I don't know, maybe not. Let's try doing these like sort of nails over here, and then maybe I'll just pull this out as a claw later. Right, and then I want to do that exact same effect here, so let me just create that little bit of a bend. And notice here I can do this, you know, while the other fingers are there, but at any point in time I can always, you know, click and isolate it to work on the inner parts. So this is a really nice trick for working with hands, is that because you can, oh, what happened here? Let's go back. Okay, at some point I did, yeah. I don't know how that happened, but that's fine. Thank the stars for undos. Let me check something here. All right. Right, and let's see if I can kind of make sense of how the structure for these is. And it's really a dream to work on a pen display doing this kind of stuff, because you're just basically exactly manipulating the thing on it. I used to be a big proponent of tablets, and I still am. I think tablet, you know, I mean, at least have a tablet. I don't have the issue where, you know, you can disassociate. You know, some people just can't work on tablets at all. They have a hard time working down here and then seeing the thing on the display, where I don't have that problem. So I always use tablets, and you know, and pen tablets were kind of cost prohibitive, but I can definitely see why, you know, a lot of artists prefer them. So again, I mean, you know, worst case scenario, I could still, you know, probably work on a tablet, and Sense Labs and Wacom have great tablets that are affordable and they work great. And if you can get away with just using one, that's great. But if you do need kind of the extra bit, like once you kind of get more into professional levels, I think a pen display will definitely add to your expertise. All right, so I'm kind of thinking, let's see what this looks like overall. Let's see if it's working with the guy. I don't know. I don't think it's getting the effect that I want. So I'm going to knock it back to the way it was before I started doing that way of doing it. And also, I don't know if this is working quite the way I wanted to. All right, I think this is good. I think it's good the way it is. I think the hands are really long, so I'm going to try and see if I should make them a little bit shorter. And the way I'm going to do that is just kind of, so there's different ways of doing this. So one way of doing it is this kind of what I'm doing here, which might work in this case. But another way of doing it is using the anchor brushes, which are new in the latest version of ZBrush. And the way that works is you put one point down and then you put another point down. And I'm using rotate here, but I actually want to do move. And let's see if that works. Nope. All right, so this is going to be working with each finger individually, which is kind of nice. So here. So here I'm just kind of seeing what it would look like to just have one finger. There we go. I like what's going on here. All right. Seems like it stopped raining, which is good. And then here, this part is kind of a little bit strange. So I'm gonna see if I can fix this thumb area a bit more. Again, I'm going to isolate it, solo it out, and work on this part. So yeah, I mean, you can see here, it does take a while to do hands. I think starting out with a pair of hands is a good idea. So there's some in ZBrush. So for example, here, if you bring up the stuff that comes with ZBrush, if you go to these characters, like this one, for example, here, this male character, and I don't want to load it because it's going to overwrite what's there. It will come in with some hands that you can use, or you can also go to Tool here, and I can load this one. And there is this one, Nick Z's Average Male Tool, and then you can load that. And I think this thing is polygrouped, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, see? So this one, if you just want to use the hands, you can just kind of choose what distance of that you want. The topology is pretty decent, so here I'm just going to I think this is on dynamic subdiv, isn't it? All right, let me see. Is it? It should be. It shouldn't be on dynamic. It is. Okay. So this is what the hand looks like, and if you want to just isolate the hand, what you can do is here you can just click on this polygroup like this, and then just select the hand, delete hidden. Oops. Select the hand, and then just do a delete hidden. And here you go. You just have a good set of hands to work with, and the fingers are polygrouped. And this would be a great way to start working on hands. So instead of starting from scratch, you can just start with a pair of hands like this, and then work yourself away or just work yourself out, kind of from this point. Excuse me. What you can also do is, if you just want to get one hand, right, you can get the other one. Delete hidden, and then just, oh yeah, this mesh has layers, no problem, easily fixed. Let's just bake them all. All right, it's partially hidden. Oh yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to unhide the rest of him. Polygroup him as one polygroup. So here, we just kind of want this hand. So here, what I'm going to do is I am going to delete the layers first. So layers, bake all, and then just get the hand. Oops. Delete hidden, and so now I just have this hand. I can just move it to the center, and I can rotate it. Oops, just like that. And now I just have a hand model that I can bring in like this and work on it or whatever. Like if I just want to do like a ring or something and I want a hand, I can do it that way. And again, one of the dream tools that have been added for hands and fingers is the anchor brush. Again, new with the latest version of ZBrush, where you basically can go to rotate here, place one point here and one point here, and just rotate the finger in any direction you want. So here I'll do it with the thumb, like so, and just rotate it in. Right, so this makes kind of working with fingers a lot easier. Always move it as well to where you want it to go. Yeah, so the anchor tool definitely makes working with hands a lot easier. I used to do it with the transpose line, the things I'm doing here, but it's a lot easier to just use the anchor brush to do it. Anyway, a little bit of a sidetrack there on working with hands, but it really makes a big difference. I'm going to delete all here. I don't need these. And go back to our project. Kind of similar situation to what we had. All right, now back to this. And let's kind of move to move brush here, and here I'm just kind of basically doing some sculpting. Nicholas, you are welcome. That's kind of the whole point of me doing these things is just to share my knowledge with the community of ZBrush. We've got a great community of people, a lot of different topics on ZBrush Live, and you can, whatever it is that you do with ZBrush, you can probably find somebody who does some work with it, and and you can kind of get some good tips on what you're working on. And most of us answer questions, and yeah, we keep the community kind of going. All we ask is that if you get good with ZBrush, that you share the knowledge with other people as well, so that we kind of can keep this community alive, and also help people that need help. It's one of the best things about ZBrush is the community. And of all the tools out there, I think ZBrush still has one of the best ones. All right, just trying to get this palm to work a little bit better. And I'm trying to figure out like what these hands are. Are they like alien hands? Because like the thing that I was doing earlier, it looked too alien-y. And since this is robotic, I'm assuming this is like some rubber thing that's on top of some robotic arms. So I do have some veins and stuff going on here, but I think I'm going to start, creating more of a hard surface look to these. Because it just would be kind of like a glove that's going on top of some sort of a some sort of a kind of cybernetic, or some sort of an arm that's underneath that is that's basically like some sort of a grippy rubberized piece that's on top of some electronics. So trying to get to that. And I just want to mirror and weld this over. Okay, yeah, all right, that's not a problem. I wonder if I could just do it with the mirror function in, let's see if this works. So if you want to mirror something and it's got multiple subdivision levels, like this guy over here, what you can do is you can use this plugin that comes with ZBrush called Subtool Master, is it? Should be off. Yeah, Subtool Master, yep. And then you can just do the mirror here and just say okay. And even though it is a thing that has multiple subdivision levels, it'll do it for you. Okay. Right. How are we doing on number of people? Oh wow, it's amazing. It's doubled in the last few minutes, so that's great. I wonder if people just didn't know about today, or if they just got on late. Who knows? There's probably some story with every single person that's on here. But yeah, a lot of people from South America today, which is kind of cool. Sometimes I get a lot of people from Australia, so it all depends. If you are watching this after the fact, if you're not watching it live, try to get on live and and ask questions and kind of participate in the group. It's always good. This is working out. Here I'm just using H-polish just to kind of get some surfaces here, because I think I'm going to go with these being mechanical and not being organic or monster hands. Excuse me. Which kind of sucks, because I do have some really good monster hand reference, but I'll use those for something else. One project that I want to do, that I'm dying to do, is a xenomorph from the Alien series, and I don't know if I'll do it on the stream or if I'll just do it as a project, but I definitely want to do one kind of as a tribute to H.R. Giger. Nicholas, yes, good question as well. So here I will go back to the browser window and all right. So basically what you can do is all these videos are stored on YouTube. So what you do is you go to YouTube, and let me just bring it up first and I'll jump in to it. And you can go to the ZBrush channel. So it's funny because here it's the thing we're doing now. And what you could do here is you can just go to live. Okay, so make sure you go to live. And then in the search over here, you can just type Kermaco, Kermaco, or you can go by time. So this is happening now. This is what we're doing today. And then you can go back here and see this is the one before that we did, right? This is the one 2 weeks ago. So I do these every 2 Fridays. And here's the one before that. And here's the one before that. So you can just kind of scroll down and see the different ones over time. Here's that. And I think, so, you can see how it's developed over time. So this is the 13th episode. Each episode is about 2 hours. So this is the 13th one today, and I think this one's going to go, I don't know, I mean, it could even reach 20. But you can see there's a lot of different streamers. Some people do animals, some people do characters. This is kind of where it started, I think. This was maybe the first or second one. But yeah, you can definitely kind of go back in time and watch the different ones. And if you go even more back in time, you can see the previous project I did to this. And it's been so long, I've even forgotten what it was, but let me see if it comes up. Oh, it was the AT-ST from Star Wars. So this is what we worked on before this one. So yeah, that's how you do it. So just go to the youtube.com/@maxonzbrushstreams. It would be a good idea for you to subscribe as well, because then you can be reminded when these are happening. And there's a lot of great artists doing a lot of good streams, and I highly recommend you watch them. It's a good way to get better at ZBrush, and also to ask questions and to be part of the community that we have. I almost want to bring in a robotic hand that I have from another project and just do a cloth wrap on top of it. I might do that still, but right now I'm just kind of going to sculpt a little bit on here and see if I can get some sort of a, an idea of how to work on these things. I kind of like the idea of this kind of separation over here. I'm going to go ahead and subdivide this one more time, just because I want to be able to add a little bit more detail. All right, so this is auto-saving. I'll let it do it. All right. Roger, hey Kermaco, I see you have a lot of third-party plugins there. Any plugin that you can recommend? Did you see ZTexturator? Yes, I did, and also I'll be showing that on my next stream. So I'll be saying this at the end of the at the end of this stream, which I guess we still have a ways to go. But I won't be on in 2 Fridays, but I'll be on the 29th. So the next stream of mine is going to be on the 29th, and I will be showing ZTexturator. I will be getting it and showing it then. I'm still kind of figuring it out, so. So I didn't want to show it this time. But yeah, there's a lot of different plugins that I have, and I recommend a lot of them. So I'll just kind of mention a few here since I've got this up. I have, of course, most of the ones that come with ZBrush, but I just got this new one called Easy Remesh, and it's got some interesting capabilities. I'm still kind of getting used to it. But one that I highly recommend is this Extract Pro Plus. This one is worth its weight in gold. I use it all the time. As a matter of fact, I have it in my UI right here, so I use it all the time. Ivy Pro is nice if you want to create Ivy. Let's see. I mean, definitely get the ones that come in. Well, I mean, of course, the ones that come in ZBrush come with it, but there's also some that they have on their website that you can download. So here, maybe I can show you guys the links to those. I think if you go to here, Maxon ZBrush plugins, and I think they're over here. Yeah, so if you go to Maxon and then, or just do a search on Maxon plugins, then these ones come up. And I don't know if these don't come with it. So there's ZBrush Compositor, there's Quick Scaler for rings and stuff. Layer Depth is a good one. There's a ring utility, Nano Tile Textures, CNC if you use a CNC machines. This one right here is super useful. This one was made by Joseph Drust. And Z Startup utility, and this one is really useful because here I'll go through and show it. So basically, if you launch it, it allows you to store all of these settings so that when you start ZBrush, all these settings are there. And so it will load a tool for you. It will load a default material, which you can also do now in ZBrush in the UI itself. But all these settings you can set initially, and then you click on Install Custom Startup, and then every time you start ZBrush, all those settings will be done for you. So I would highly recommend this one. It's super useful. This one, Panel Loop Presets, is good for panel loops. Clean tool utility. This is kind of a neat one too. I haven't used it for a while, so I forget. Z-Repeated is good. IMM Extractor is good. Matcap Baker. All of these are super useful, and you can get these all from this website. And here I'll put it in the chat. You know what's weird is the chat used to kind of have messages of where to do certain things in ZBrush, but I don't think it does anymore. But here we go. I just put the link to this in the chat. And also, you know what? While I'm at it, I'll also put my link tree in here as well for those of you that maybe forgot where the Instagram is. I'll put my Instagram on there too. I forget I can chat with all of you all as well. But yeah, that's a bunch of plugins that you can just get for free, and they're all really super useful. And of course, there's a ton of them now on Gumroad and ArtStation as well. So. The thing about ZBrush is that a lot of these are really useful, but it's not like Blender, where in Blender, like if there's certain plugins that you absolutely need for sure, like it's just life is miserable without them. But ZBrush, I think you can do okay with just getting all the free stuff. But if you want to do other things like Extract Pro, for example, is super useful. I think there's a free version of it too, like a limited free version that you can get. Here I'm thinking of some ways of making the hands more interesting. And this is just brute force sculpting here. I'm going to turn the color off on the hands just because I want to get a different... I mean, the colors are cool, but I just want to get like a grayish color. Something like that, maybe a little bit lighter. Something like this. And also I'm going to change my material to basic material 2 just because I want to get a little bit of the highlights. Again, the hands aren't really going to, I'm not really going to be focusing too much on the hands, but I'm going to see them from about maybe this distance or maybe even this distance. So I just want to see kind of what highlights are showing up. So I don't have to do extra work to get it to be here we go. Something like that. Yeah, see, so this kind of indicates that there's some sort of underlying machine, and I'll show you guys a nice way to kind of get that over cloth thing afterwards. But I just want to create kind of a base for that, and see here that extra level of subdivision is giving me a little bit more of what I want. Just some extra details here. And again, I don't really want to get too detail-y because none of this is really going to be visible, but I kind of want to create something that a cloth hand can go on top of and give me some sort of indication that, oh, there's something robotic under here. All right. Also, I don't really have to do that much work on the inside part. Maybe just create some pads or something. So here I'm duplicating what I did over on here. Just creating like these little bit of knuckly looking things. And maybe this one goes this way. I have an invitation to go see an actual robot in action, which was kind of cool. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I've worked on some real-life robots on projects where I've worked on the Toyota robot, which is kind of really cool. And I know Tesla is doing a robot. I know I think there are some car companies. I think car companies want to do robots just because I think they plan on using them in their assembly lines. I mean, I think that's kind of the reason why they do that development. It's kind of like robotic arms, but if you actually have an articulated robot, I think they can get more done. And again, I'm not really doing very detailed work here. I'm just creating little things that will that the cloth can wrap around and indicate to me that this is kind of a robotic thing on the inside. I think I'm going to assign a single click to one of the mouse buttons, or the not mouse, but the stylus buttons, because doing a click is a little bit of a challenge with styluses, styli. And again, having worked on actual robots, you know, I kind of know how these things usually are connected and how they work. I think one of the things about working with real robots is just seeing how, you know, cool the mechanics of it are. But also, it's really kind of takes a lot of the sci-fi-ness out of it. It's just motors and servos and a lot of parts that basically have to work together. I think that's the big challenge, is how to, you know, we don't think about it as humans because we just use our body parts, you know, together. Like if we reach for something, you know, we instinctively do it. But with a robot, like there's so many different things that need to, just to grab something, so many things need to be manipulated. I think animators understand that the most. Like, you know, like having a good rig for a robot is kind of a challenge. All right, let's see what this finger looks like. Looks robotic enough. Let's go to this guy, do the same thing. And I want to try out the method that I'm suggesting, because I don't know for 100% sure that it's going to work, but I have a feeling it will. And I'll probably speed this up by using alphas and whatnot, but I'm just going to brute force sculpt it in. See what I get. All right. All right, let's experiment. Let's try out my experiment and see if it works. So the way that I want to do this, I just want to duplicate this. And I want to create a view here that just has the two hands. So I'm going to go to view 5 here and just do the two hands. So view this one and this one. Take this off of solo. So I basically have two hands, one on top of the other. This one, I just want to rename it to cover. It's called hand cover. All right, and that's good. And for this one, I don't need this many subdivision levels, so I'm just going to go to maybe about 3. Let's see, even 2 can do it. I'll go to 3. Yeah, let's see. How many is 3? 3 is 128,000. I think that should be okay. What's 4? 4 times that, 512. That's still okay. Let's go to 3. Okay, and I'm just going to delete the lower and higher subdivision levels. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go into the dynamics. And I am going to go ahead and recalculate, create a collision volume, which is the hand underneath, right? Because that's the only two things that are visible are the two hands. And I'm going to turn off gravity for now. And I'm just going to do a contract and expand and a deflate. Let's see what that does. Okay, so I'm getting something I don't want because my inflate here is at 1. So I'm going to put that at 0.1, recalculate this and run it again. All right, so this is a little bit better, but again, not exactly what I want. I don't know what is going on here. But let's go ahead and click on just expand. And for some reason, it's really doing it on the inside of the hand and not as much on the outside of the hand. I don't know why. Let's add a little bit of gravity, maybe not that much. And let's also not have any self-collisions. And let's choose a little bit of a firmer object. And let's do more iterations and let's see what happens here. Let's run the simulation. What is that? It's kind of cool, but not what I want. I think it's kind of stuck in the simulations. And I wonder if that's going to affect the stream speed. Do something here with the video. Zoom out a bit. Here we go. All right, come on, simulation, stop. Oh no. Come on back. I like what's going on in here, by the way. I kind of can see some good kind of glovey looking things going on in here. But here it's kind of doing the time, and this is still counting. So I'm assuming, oh, here we go. All right, got that back. Okay, what did we do here that was too much? Let's go back to 150 simulation points. And I think maybe the firmness was too much. And self-collision, I think maybe leave that at 3. Let's see what we get by doing this. Oh, mesh density. Oh, this was not the right thing to do there. I think this is going to be, let's do this as maximum. Let's just do this as 512 simulation points. And what is the other thing that I did? Simulation. Okay, this one. Let's do this at 150. All right. Yeah, let's set this at 3 for now and run the simulation. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that weird kind of line over here. I don't know where that's coming from. I mean, I'm getting a really cool effect here, but I don't know if that's what I'm going for. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to change this to 0.01, the inflate amount, recalc this. Let's change the resolution for that is good. Let's try and see what that does. Yeah, I don't understand what those kind of little islands that it's creating are and why it's doing it. I mean, once it gets rid of them, and it does get rid of them over time, what I'm getting is exactly what I want, which is these kinds of folds. But it's doing it good on the inside, but somehow not on the outside. Okay. And I don't know if that's a self-collision thing that's causing this or what, but let's get that back, undo this. Change this to 2, see if that was it. No, that's not it. Okay. I think let's see here. Let's just change that to 1. Okay, so that's definitely what's kind of causing these things to happen. So let's just leave that at 0. Yeah, that was what was creating those islands. So whenever I said self-collision, it created that. Another thing I also want to do, whoa, okay, I'm getting exactly what I want here. That is cool. But another idea that I had is to maybe add a little bit of an inflate to this before I do it. So I'm just going to go to deformation and add a tiny bit of inflate, maybe just 1. So it's not touching it, it's actually, you know, kind of off of it. And then let's go ahead and try doing the self-collision thing again here and running the simulation again. Yeah, it's still doing those weird little islands. All right. For some reason, the self-collision is the reason why that's happening. I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to go ahead and expand and also deflate and see what we get. All right, here we go. This is exactly what I want. I'm just going to continue the simulation, see where it takes us. At some point, it's going to start creating some folds. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of looking more mechanical, but what I want is, let me see if I can do something else here. I'm going to go ahead and reconstruct subdiv on this. Go down in subdivision level and just keep it at a lower subdivision level and delete the higher one. Delete higher. And let's see what this does. I'm hoping lesser, okay, here we go. This is kind of neat too. So it's kind of creating that, robotic look. And then if I turn smooth off, divide, and do that, and delete lower, maybe this creates an interesting place to start. Oh, reconstruct subdiv, good question. So if I have something like, let's go ahead and pick this thing, right? All right, so here's this. And right now this thing has no subdivision levels. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to divide it and divide it. And actually, I'm going to turn smooth off, divide it, divide it, divide it. And then I'll turn smooth on and divide it one more time. Okay, so this object used to be, pretty simple, but now it's got all these subdivision levels, right? And if I go in here and delete the lower subdivision levels, now it's just this object, and it has no subdivision levels. So what reconstruct subdivision does is it goes ahead and gives me those subdivision levels back. So right now there's no subdivision levels, right? And if I reconstruct it, I've got level 1 and level 2, and then I can continue to do that. Now I've got level 1, 2, and 3, and then I can continue to do that as well. And then now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can do it one last time, I think, and that brings me to my original shape, right? So now I've got all those subdivision levels, right? So if you have something that you've subdivided over time and you want to get back to, you know, you want to restore the initial subdivision levels, you can try doing reconstruct subdivisions. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I knew it would work with the hands because I deleted the lower subdivision levels of it, so that did work. Just got a new idea from this. I'm just going to keep it and then come back to it later. But yeah, that's what it does. Hopefully that helps. Let's get back to these guys over here. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit of what I want, and I'm going to go back to this view. Yeah, and these kind of look more robotic now. And if I apply some sort of a rubber material to this, it will look like it's kind of basically housing some mechanical hands underneath. Okay, and then I can just go in here and use maybe, I'm just actually going to go back to this and see if I can get more, excuse me, get more detail on this hand. All right, so I'm going to run that simulation again. And I'm going to turn off deflate and just run it again. And what expand does, it creates these interesting folds like you can see over here. So yeah, this is totally exactly what I want. And I can always smooth areas that I want, like for example here. I don't want that detail, but some areas I can smooth it, and some areas I can just leave it the way it is. Especially in between the fingers here. And I could probably have done a little bit more to the underlying hand to get better results, but I just want to test and see if this works, and it does. So this proof of concept does work. I just need to do a little bit more sculpting on the hands to get it to be more along the lines of what I want. And I can also, another trick is you can add some tubes underneath as well. So here I'm just going to go over to these guys and just bring them all the way back, but to the point where they're inflated. I think this is it. Bring back, oh, I don't want this, but I do want that. And I just want to see how much of an inflate I've done on this. I think maybe a little bit more. Just add one more inflate to it. Okay, there it is. Okay, so that's just the outside part, and this is the inside part. And I can do some other things to the inside part here to make it more like more robotic. And that is to go in here and go to the brushes and curve tube. Where are you? Here you are. Just do things like this. And this is going to complain about it being multiple subdivision levels, so not a problem. I can either freeze the subdivision levels, or I can just create another copy of this. I'll just do that. There it is, and delete the lower subdivision levels of it. And then just do one of these guys, too big. Maybe do this. I don't know why it's going inside of the object and not sticking to the surface. All right, let's see if I think there's another one that does exactly what I want it to do, which is curved surface. No. Maybe it's this one, but I just need to play around with the settings. I think I just need to solo this out. Let's see if that works. No. Okay. I just need to look at the settings for this brush. First, let's look at depth. Okay, depth is good. And then under stroke, there's some settings as well. All right, modifiers. No, not that one. Where's the curve? Curve mode as line, curve step, substep, snap. Oh, that's what the problem is. I need snap, right? Oh, nope, still not doing it. Bend start, bend end. Let's turn this off. Still not getting what I want. Lock start, lock end, repel strength. Let's add a little bit of that. And let's not have it fall off. Okay, no repel. Still not doing what I want. Not this. Intensity size fall off. I don't think any of these are doing what I want. Yeah, I don't know why it's going inside of the hand, and I don't know what point it's ending at. So this is an interesting thing. And I think the reason is because this is not touching the... There's a function that lets it snap to the surface. I thought this was it. Snap to the underlying surface when being manipulated while the... Okay, so let's try doing this, and then let me moving this. No. That's so strange. Okay. Bend start, bend end. No. Snap, sub... No. Huh. Yeah, I think there's some setting somewhere that I, let's see, in the curve. No, this is not it. There's a couple of places. I think on the brush modifiers, there's some stuff here for curves, triparts, projection. Oh, maybe this is it. Projection stress to 100. No. No. I don't even see a curve anymore. Okay, what's going on there? That's so strange. Okay. Okay. Projection strength, triparts stretch, curve resolution, max band angle, weld points. Nope, none of these is doing what I want it to do. I think one of the ways I could do this is maybe choose one of these other surface ones. So curve snap strap, I think there's something like that. Curve flat strap, let's see if this works. So this one's doing what I want it to do, but it's just not a curve. But this might work as well, maybe just ribbons. Maybe, you know. Maybe I'll just do this instead. Okay, it's doing it on both sides. All right, and then I think this goes on based on thickness. Yeah. Yep, it's too big. And so this is how is this doing it? Let's look at the qualities of it. So it's triparts, weld points. Okay, so let's go back to the curved tube. Curve flat snap. What I need is something called curved tube snap. But let's see. Okay, so this is triparts as well. So, I mean, one way of doing it is what I just did, which is basically doing the other one and then just using that same curve too, but it's a lot of steps. So I kind of have to figure out what the difference is between these two and just see if I can do it that way. I should know this, but I don't. Okay, so this one does exactly what I want it to do. So bend start, snap, curve mode, all these are good. Any curve modifiers here, that intensity, okay, this is all good as well. So for curve brushes, there's two places, and one of them here is the modifiers, triparts, projections. Okay, so all this is exactly the same. So why is it working and not working on the other one? if I go to this brush, oh, maybe the brush modifier is doing it. So this is at 20. And then where are you? This one's at 0. All right, maybe that's it. So I'm going to undo these and go to this one. And I'm hoping this will solve our problem. And I want the brush modifier to be at 0. Nope, that's not it. Let's change that back to 20. Constant tilt, triparts, wall points. All this is the same. What am I not seeing here? Ah, bend start. Bend start, maybe that's it. Let's see if that works. No. Trying to emulate all the things that this one has that this one does not. Bend start step, curve mode. Just expand all these. I just want to see what the difference are. And it's basically in here somewhere that's going to be the difference. Okay, so this works exactly the way I want. But if I go to this one, see if I click there, it's just exactly what I want it to do. But for some reason, I wonder if that's it. I wonder if it's just repelling it in the wrong direction. Oh. So the repel fall off 2 and 0, bend start, snap. And then this one has a repel fall off. Let's just say 2 for this. Repel strength, bend start, it's all the same. I think this is better, but it's still not exactly what I want. All right, I'm not going to spend too much more time on this. I think we've kind of struggled enough with it, but I think the way to get around it now, you know, I know that this is going to work, is I just do this. And I'll have some of these in there as well and just move it to where I want it to be. And then just switch to the curve tube and click once, and then that places a curve there. And then go back to this one, flat strap. I'm going to do another one this way. And then, you know, maybe this one I want to keep as this. All right. Like that. And then click. And that's accepted. And by the way, I can manipulate these after the fact too. There's a ribbon here, and then I want to see how this affects the simulation. So I'm going to do that, and I think we're kind of almost at the end of the time here. See how that works, and if it does work, then I'll just do the same thing, but I'll do it off screen just to get it done. All right, so here I just want to get to dynamics. And let's run that simulation. And the reason why it didn't work as expected is because I need to recalculate it with the new settings. Okay, so here it is. It's respecting that tube. The strap isn't really doing much to it, but I could probably add another subdivision here and run the simulation again. It's creating some really interesting folds here, but again, not what I want, so I want to deflate it and run it. Here we go. So you can see here now how it's basically doing, it's kind of creating these veiny things around this. I don't think it's doing much with that strap, but it's definitely doing the thing with the tube. So if I add the tubes here, it'll be very, very interesting. I kind of like what happened here too. So yeah, I think we're almost there with what we got. So we'll just do more of this next time. I think we're getting more towards the I think we're getting more towards the end of it, but yeah, I just discovered a way to create veins that works really well. So basically create something that's underlying and then put in curved tubes that basically conform to the surface. And I'll figure out how that works too. I don't know why I'm struggling with it. And then once it wraps around it, it's creating these really interesting nerves. And so it's kind of a happy accident. We just discovered this. And I might make a little tutorial video on that after I figure it out completely. So with that, I think this would be a good point to stop. If anybody has any last minute questions, I'll pause for a few minutes and you can ask them. And after that, we will kind of end this session as well. So I'm going to go back to the whole robot here. And I think this is working pretty nicely. Turn transparency off. I think this will work. So I think I just need to do more veins or more of those curves, and I think it'll create the hand that I need. So we're pretty close to being done. I might do the shoes offline. I don't know. Maybe I'll do them next time. I'll spend a little bit of time on them. And then we'll start putting in tertiary details, and I think we're going to be pretty close to the modeling being done, and then we'll just send this over to Character Creator to get a pose. Okay, so it seems like there's no questions coming in, so I want to again thank you all for tuning in live, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, I want to remind everybody that I don't have a session coming up in 2 weeks, so on the 15th there will not be a session, but on the 29th there will be. So the 29th of March is going to be the next one of these. And so Roger, you're welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And so I'll see you all on the 29th. And hopefully I will have that Z texture, or and I will be able to texture this model using that. See if, what kind of results we're going to get. All right, so thanks for tuning in again. And happy ZBrushing, everybody. We'll see you on the 29th.